Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Sunday. It's Angels and Astrology with Teri Hunter here on Lotta's Astrology channel. Welcome back. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. What an incredible week we have ahead of us to add to all the transformational things going on. I think I'm going to give it a minute to see. Oh, here we go. Hi. Looking to see, waiting for people to sort of join the room. Hi, Juan. Hi, Small Wildflowers. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good life. Okay, so we're walking into a interesting week. You know, the theme of this year is the Uranus-Saturn square in Taurus and Aquarius. And this week, Mars is going to join the mix to form a T-square. So we have this T-square in fixed signs. I think this is very interesting because there is Mars in Leo representing our personal creativity, our personal expression, romance. Oh, I'm going dark here. Let's see if I can get some light going on here. Sorry, interrupting myself. All right, this is where I'm going with this. Mars is wanting to move forward, expressing itself, breaking free of all the restraints. Uranus, in some ways, is supporting this, but in a sort of jerky, kind of wobbly way. And then Saturn is sort of saying, because Saturn is in retrograde, slow your roll. And in slowing your roll, it's not about not rolling. It's about something taking a little bit more time. Although I do not believe that's going to happen. I think this week is going to reveal unexpected things, not only from those around you, but from within yourself. So, because in addition to the T-square, we have Mars making a trine to Chiron in Aries. And so we have the ruler of Aries, Mars, in Leo, making a trine to Chiron. So somewhere in this week, there's an opportunity to begin the balancing act of a wound that represents your sense of self, your sense of how you move through the world. I know as an Aries rising that some people label me in a way that I find not fair. Sometimes they'll call me too assertive, too willing to jump into the ring of fire. But at the same time, I'm a person who's really not an arguer, but rather somebody who stands up for the little guy, stands up for imbalance. So I want to really have you guys think about the idea that with Uranus traversing Taurus being the ground we walk on, Taurus representing the second house, which represents our family history, represents our legacy, how we perceive our self of value in the world, our self-esteem, and giving us an opportunity to liberate that. So, all right. I want to welcome everybody. Hi, Kit Keebs. Hi, Kate. I posted up. Sharon, welcome. Biko, the animator. Oh, congratulations. What do you say? Hello, I applied to Walt Disney Animation Studios last night for a job. My Elsa and Aang animation will hopefully be uploaded next week after lighting is done. I'm getting this job. Awesome. I love that declaration. This is perfect. Elsa, no right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. And this is where this T-square can I actually think can work for us instead of working against us. Now, I want to offer this because some of you may inadvertently find a disruption that initially feels a little scary. And I want to put it this way. So you know you have a certain position or you know you have a certain dynamic meaning, oh, I make this amount of money. And then the disruption happens, which opens up an opportunity. But now the amount of money you have is sitting in an unsure place. This is where you get to sit and say, I am a co-creator. I am the intention setter of this situation, and I'm going to rise like the phoenix up through it. All right. So Ice Phoenix, how can you explain a T-square? Okay. So a T-square, when I first started studying astrology, it kind of mixed me up because I kept looking for a square within the chart. It's actually a triangle. So part of the T-square is in opposition. And this week we have Mars in opposition to Saturn. Saturn wanting to slow the roll. Saturn in retrograde, even wanting more to slow the roll and really think about how we're going to traverse the landscape. And then there's Mars moving forward through Leo going, look, I was just sitting in Cancer a minute ago and I need to move. I want to move the story forward. So we have an opposition. Both of these planets are in square to Uranus in Taurus. So that's what's creating what's called a T-square. And it does create friction. But for me, when I see the opposition pointing to the square, the pinnacle of the square is indicating what I get to, where the tension is and the opportunity to liberate. Geez, this lighting thing really bugs me. Okay, so Uranus represents liberation. Uranus represents an opportunity to express yourself and your unique individuality. So that's what I think has been the theme really since Uranus moved into Taurus in late 2017. We've gone through a series of every week. It seems like the headlines are, oh my God, another, challenging dynamic. But each one of these dynamics is like peeling back an onion. I almost feel like it's like a car. And as we've watched Pluto go retrograde, Saturn go retrograde, Jupiter go retrograde, then we see everything go forward, then it's going retrograde again. It's almost like a windshield wiper in the car of your life, trying to clear the muck off of your windshield so you can actually see and drive your car forward in a way that serves you, in a way that is more aligned to your deeper truth. So, and I say this really feels like this week is pivotal because of the trine between Mars, the truth seeker, and Chiron transiting Aries. Because Chiron is the wound. Chiron is craving balance. Chiron is craving a bit of see me. So as we look at the idea that Mars and Leo is creating a trine, that's a positive, favorable aspect. It's giving us an opportunity to use these two dynamics in tandem, in cooperation. So if you see something disruptive, because Uranus pulls things up unexpectedly. Winning the lottery is an unexpected thing, Most people go, oh, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to be, something bad's going to happen. I'll be evicted from my apartment. It could be just the opposite. So I really want you guys to start to look to the higher vibrations of what you want to be liberated from, and then use that dynamic to connect with your guides and your team in order to start to really get the roll moving, and in a way that lets you trust the ride. Okay? Because Uranus is always going to be a ride. I hope that made sense. Okay, welcome, Stephen. I think I said hi to Kit Keeps. Hi, Nikki. Good to see you. Judy, All Natural. Rebecca, good to see you. Let's see, who did I miss? Stephen Capricoda, welcome. You have two grand fixed crosses in your chart. That's really cool in many ways. I have two grand trines in earth signs in my chart as well. And I believe that one of them is in Taurus, my moon. And I believe that when the transiting planets hit a point, it hits sort of in a ripple effect. So as Uranus is transiting my moon, it's also triggering the trine between Saturn and then Pluto and Venus. So if I work in connection with these things rather than bracing, because we tend to look at the side that we need to like almost put on a life jacket. And I feel like as I've gotten to understand my own life path and the transits and how they have been going on for decades, and each one has liberated me. And my job is to invite in the good stuff. So I'm going to chat a little bit more quickly. This week started off with a bang for me. You know, we had the Mercury shadow period as it went direct. We also had a square between Mercury and Neptune on the 25th here in the United States, Northern Hemisphere, as I now understand it. I could not tell you how many disruptive things happened, from having to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and, you know, on Monday and have my whole day go far left. And every time something went a little bit wacky, I kept asking myself, where's the silver lining in this? Where's the silver lining in this? And as the week went on, I found myself more and more empowered through what felt like the roller coaster ride of where I could have gone and sailed into stress city, sailed into pity party, sailed into being pissed off. I just kept finding that silver lining, and it just kept empowering me. Catherine St. Clair, bang, on the 21st, you lost your job, but maybe you found your passion, or this is an opportunity to find your passion. So claim it and allow for it and invite it in. Welcome, CC Pups. Good to see you. Crystal Princess. Good to see you. Calculated Healing. I really want you guys to look at these transits this year, to look at the dynamics between the theme of the Saturn-Uranus square that's going to happen. You know, we've just had it happen, and now it's going to happen again in December. And give yourself permission to allow in a bigger picture of what you want. And if indeed, for some reason, you find the initial invitation brings in more of what you don't want, or more conversation about what you don't want, allow yourself the privilege of that Uranian energy to individualize yourself from the conversation. It doesn't mean you have to walk away from it, but in your own mind say, I know something that you have yet to remember about yourself, whoever you're chatting with. I'm a powerful co-creator. And when I not only put my intention out to the universe about what I want to experience, and then in some ways, I take my hand off the wheel and I go, okay, now I'm open to allowing in the inspired guidance that takes me to that place. And that inspired guidance could be something as simple as, I'm going to shop at a different market today. Or I think I'm going to stop off here on my way to go here, because you don't know how spirit could bring you into a dynamic that actually opens up something that you were like, I can't even believe that happened, including winning a lottery ticket. Okay. All right. So now that I've talked about all that yummy stuff, let's go on to our weekly readings. Juan, don't say, oh no, to Katrina. This may be the greatest thing that ever happened to Katrina. I'll bet you Katrina may not have liked her job that much. See, look, she says, I found out I can go back to college and get a new degree. This is so exciting. And the permissions she gets to give herself is not to make any rules about that pursuit, that empowerment, that education. It's fun. Hi, Janine. Good to see you. All right, here we go. We're going to start with our Pisces as we normally do and move on to Aquarius. Good morning, Mia. I'm going to say it wrong. Mako. I think I'm saying that right. And small wildfires, brain damage? I don't think so. Maybe brain fog, but I don't know about brain damage. All right, here we go. Oh, Michelle, that's so kind of you. Juan is so good to do the timestamps. And this week I'm gonna make my attempt to stay focused as I announce. All right, here we go on Pisces. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And I'm going to, okay, here I just said I wasn't going to interrupt myself, but I am really quickly. I've been doing a lot of research on the moon lately because I'm drawn to it in such a way that I'm beginning to think it's the most powerful influence in my chart. And I've been working on creating a video for my stuff. And I want you to really think about the moon as the primary energy this week. Where is your moon and what aspects are it making? Yes, it travels, the transit moon travels very quickly, but we create on our emotional body. And no matter what we project out into the world, our sun, and no matter really our perspective, meaning our rising sign, our emotional body is going to supersede our perspective. They'll work in tandem, but the emotional body is where we can see the evidence of our evolution. And this is what was going on with me this week. There was a part of me, my perspective sometimes as an Aries rising is to really get pissed off about people that don't have manners. My Libra sun and my Taurus moon, Venus rules both of those. We like manners, we like harmony. And so rather than walking through with this constant look at all the people that don't purport any manners or common sense, I kept saying, well, there's the silver lining. I'm purporting manners. I'm the one who's doing this. And in doing so, I'm going to change the vibration and start to attract in more of that. That's where I'm going with this. I hope that made sense. All right. Now for sure, I'm starting with Pisces. Okay. Hey, Jay Karma, welcome. Had I say hi to you, Michelle? I hope I did. All right. Pisces, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Francesca. The second is Chantal. The third is Ariel. And the final is Daniel. Really Pisces now? Okay. Francesca's being joined by the serpent. Chantal's being joined by the fire fairy. Ariel's being joined by the wealth card. And Daniel's being joined by the dog. Straight up love this week. So here we hear about this T-square between Mars in Leo, the sign of romance, opposing Saturn in Aquarius, liberation, but also my hopes and my desires. Then we have Taurus, Uranus and Taurus, and Taurus ruling beauty and overall love. I want to say it this way, Pisces. It's time to start to check in unabashedly with complete. I want to break open my heart and say to Spirit, I really, 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 really want to be in a healthy, supportive, thriving, exciting, fun relationship, because it's time to start for you to start to visualize what that feels like. And I want to offer it this way, because if you cannot visualize it in a way that doesn't feel like it's fading in and out like Marty McFly from Back to the Future, then just saying, Spirit, I allow in this amazing relationship, because now is a time to shed a skin. And shedding the skin is really the boomerang back to what you've already experienced in relationships that hasn't worked. Because in the opportunity or the obstacle is Chantal, the angel of romance. And then we have the fire fairy. And the fire fairy is all about creative action and optimism, and can represent Aries or any one of our fire signs, plus the idea of Mars. And this is time for Pisces to really get clean. I'm ready. And if indeed you are in a relationship right now, then I think it's about allowing yourself the privilege of stoking that relationship through, and not with the idea that I'm doing this for you in hopes that you will do it back for me, but rather showing up as the energy you want to receive. Here's Ariel saying that new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view yourself and others. And here's the harmonious wealth card. This to me is never really about money, because money doesn't really create happiness. health and thriving in a place where I feel fulfilled and valued is where I have true wealth. And I think that that's what you get to do in relationships now. Because in the final position, my Pisces, is Daniel, the angel of marriage, and the dog. And the dog represents loyalty, unconditional love, and sincerity. And Daniel represents bringing a marriage partner or the resurgence of a relationship. So I want to say this. Your willingness not only to stand in the idea that the disruption we've been experiencing gives you an opportunity to get clean in the relationships that you're in. And it isn't about being defensive or being accusatory or bringing up your history. It's more about how do we want to proceed forward. I started this broadcast talking about my life being like a car, and the windshield wiper or the windshield is how I'm driving forward. And all these transits are the wipers. These planets are trying to wipe the fog, wipe the dirt off the windshield so that you don't have to keep looking in the rearview mirror. So Pisces, inviting in the supportive, healthy, loving, nurturing relationship you want, and then allowing yourself the privilege of not trying to figure out how you're going to swim there and find it, rather saying whatever I need will come to me. And my job is to be prepared to receive it, because when I receive it, I will more than likely be so excited about it. There will be a slight sense of vulnerability. So here we have this dynamic of this unexpected Uranus sitting there making this T-square with Saturn in Aquarius, breaking up the old structure to allow for Mars to do what it's doing in Leo, which is essentially bringing that spark of romance back into my life. And it may not be because of somebody else. This feels like it has more to do with me and my perception and my attitude moving forward. And then that becomes the invitation. There we go. All right, let's go on to our Aquarius. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Welcome, Sharon Austin. Stephen, trying to figure out how to move forward is a slightly resistant energy that will really kind of stop you, because you'll only be able to see it from where you're sitting. So if you say to yourself, Spirit, I'm going to allow you to inspire me how to move forward. And when I move forward, it feels so good. It feels easy. I feel like I'm in the flow. I feel like life is working for me. That's how you start to move forward. Because the do is actually never as powerful as it is preceded by the be. My be, do, have. My be is my belief, my attitude, my disposition, which is essentially my emotional body, my moon, as I move into the do, which is my sun. Okay, here we go. Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. And I'm just going to say it. Don't be afraid of that like button, guys. That like button likes you and it likes me. Just be it, Stephen. Just be it. Just be it. Not do it. Because when you're being it, the do will come naturally. And isn't that what Mars represents, is inspiration, pioneering spirit, moving forward? All right, Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Merlina. The second is Daniel. The third is Sonia. And the final is Shanti. Merlina is being joined by Merlin. Wow. Daniel's being joined by the cow. Sonia's being joined by the fire fairy. And Shanti is being joined by the love card. Well, this is very interesting because, I shouldn't say, I hate when I do that. I can hear my dad from the other side saying, no, they don't know what you're going to say. All right, here we go. Aquarius. Merlin and Merlina feel very similar to me. Well, Merlina in the angel deck represents a little bit of confusion. I don't know how the grand wizard would ever be confused because she makes magic, and so does Merlin. So Aquarius, you have an opportunity to make magic, but you're going to make magic. That's not what the normal human thinks. So your job this week is to allow this T-square to blow up whatever is restricting you from making magic. And I want to offer it this way, because when I look at Daniel in the opportunity or the obstacle, we just talked about it, Daniel with Pisces, this represents the angel of marriage, but it also represents my history in marriage and relationships. And the cow is about abundance and receiving. So to me, this is an opportunity for Merlin and Merlina to truly illuminate a situation that's out of balance and then bring balance to it by recognizing where I'm bringing my history in and then allowing spirit to bring in a new perspective. And I say that because Sonia is in the Angel's Advice, representing my team, my heavenly hosts, the ones that watch over me, and they're offering inspiration. But part of it is, if Aquarius is so stuck in your history of relationships, I don't know how you feel the inspiration because your focus is dense. So now this is allowing yourself to receive, allowing for the illumination of what a challenging situation may have to offer you that actually brings you closer to the dynamic that you want. Because here we have Shanti, the angel of peace, and we have the love card. And I think this is really super interesting because Aquarius, of all the signs, is really the most innovative, the most futuristic, the most willing to, even though it's a fixed sign, it's fixed in its determination to be itself. And the 11th house rules our hopes and our dreams. So making magic, Aquarius. Not looking to be like a human, but rather a magical creature through your intention and through your willingness to look at where you may be interrupting that magic, and then allowing spirit to come in and inspire you before you take action. That's the being energy, because I believe that will bring in more love, not just from the outside world, but from what comes from the inside world. All right, I'm going to go on to Capricorn. And as I shuffle, I'm going to tell you a brief story. So this week, I can't even tell you. I walked into a place to order lunch. I ordered a juice and I ordered a salad. They handed me the juice and I walked out. I got almost all the way home, and this had been after I woke up in the morning and had a whole disruptive morning. It was one thing after another. And I thought to myself, all right, what is spirit trying to tell me about this? And I started to see all the cooperative components that spirit had laid down within this disruption. The fact that the guy at the sandwich shop ran all the way to chase me and met me halfway. The idea that, okay, so Lucky peed on my bed. I wasn't going to tell you, but now I'm going to tell you. And it really, I don't even know what happened, but apparently Sunday night I went to bed and completely spaced out on his final pee of the night. And, he couldn't hold it. And I was like, oh my God. So I had to get up and do all this laundry. I know a lot of people won't appreciate this story, but in any case, my point is this: had some sort of weird rubber thing, so it didn't get on my mattress. Silver lining. A few hours later, forget my lunch. Guy chases me down. Silver lining. This week, our job, especially Capricorn, look for the silver lining. Oh, sorry if I'm pointing, because it's there. And when you look for the silver lining, then you start to invite in more abundance through that silver lining to see how the disruption is actually serving to define where you want to be. Just saying. Capricorn, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. Our first angel is Chantal. Well, our second is Rosetta. The third is Grace and Antoinette. And the final is Serafina. Wow, wow. Thank you, Kate. All right. So we've had Chantal come up. 3 signs, 3 opportunities for romance coming up here. Let's pay attention. Chantal, is being joined by the goblin. Rosetta is being joined by the spider. Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the wind fairy. And Serafina is being joined by the focus card. So Capricorn, Chantal talks about romance, about resurgence of romance, about an opportunity for new romance. And we have your ruling planet in the opposition to Mars in the house of romance. And this is where I honestly, I don't want to, not that I would ever not be honest, but your ego is being bruised somehow, and I think in some ways, Capricorn, you may be wanting to stick to some sort of old structure. You may want to, almost like it feels like a refusal to evolve into what you want. It's almost as if Capricorn is saying, I want this, but don't stretch me too far outside my box. And I feel like Spirit is saying, you got to get outside your box in order to have the relationship you want, to be able to enjoy it with a childlike innocence that believes in love, believes in magic, believes in connection, believes that people stay together. Because Capricorn, Grace and Antoinette is calling forth a compassion, asking for compassion, which if you ask me supersedes the love energy. It's actually a higher vibration. And this is compassion for your thoughts and for your feeling as if your ego is being bruised. And I want to offer it this way, because this T-square may blow up some relationships or create tensions and arguments within relation. And if you're willing to look at where your ego is getting checked, because what you're doing is you're actually, it feels like you're more invested on some level in wanting to keep things the way you know them to be. And if I know them to be that way, I feel safe. And I feel like love is never safe. The only safety you have is in your willingness to be true to yourself. And that's where Serafina and the focus card comes in. Because I feel like what the truth for Capricorn is, I really want a happy life. I want a happy situation. I want a happy family. And I want to offer it this way, because I know I tell my dumb stories, but this whole week, my ego could have easily gotten checked in so many ways. I could have made Lucky wrong for peeing on the bed when it was really my fault for not taking him out. I could have gotten annoyed that the guy at the sandwich place didn't bring my order out all together at once and made me forget that I ordered a sandwich. But instead, I turned it all around because I was willing to see where I was edging God out. And I think for Capricorn, this is a lot to do with romance. And a lot to do with allowing this T-square and Uranus to kind of blow up the old structure and allow yourself to be courageous in Mars, highest vibration, to call forth a greater and deeper and more savory experience in love. Not just love of outside yourself, but that love inside yourself. Thank you, Michelle. All right, that's a little rough on Capricorn, but I actually think that it may appear rough on its superficial level, but I think it really offers a much more savory, as I said, and an enduring situation that's more authentic to who you are. No, love is never safe. The only thing that's safe is being true to yourself. Oh, did I say that? Thank you. I thought you said that. Yes, here I am for the mess. Oh, well, I got to say, that was true. Okay, let's go on to our Sagittarius's rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let it go. Let it go. I'm so love Disney songs, I have to tell you, honestly. I wake up with Into the Unknown stuck in my head. Like, I can't even tell you how many times this last week where I literally hear the chorus and Idina going off, and I don't even know why I do that. All right, Sagittarius. Our first angel is Archangel Michael. Then we have Crystal, Archangel Raphael, and Oceana. Here we go. Hi, Sierra. Oh. Archangel Michael is being joined by the dragon. Crystal's being joined by the love card. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the mystery card. And Oceana is being joined by the birth and the rebirth card. When I first saw this for Sagittarius, I thought to myself, the nodal structure is going on right now between Sagittarius South Node, Gemini North Node. I think I remember that correctly, because sometimes I mess things up. Archangel Michael is asking you to have the courage to make the changes that really empower you. I think about the 8th house, Scorpio, rules death and rebirth. And as a result of these very, in some ways, traumatic events, we go into the 9th house of Sagittarius, where we connect to a bigger picture of ourselves. Who am I? What does my life mean? Who am I in this big sea? What does this drop mean? And I feel like Archangel Michael is asking Sagittarius to use this T-square and this whole year that is focusing in on the idea that we're breaking down the old structures and renovating our lives to a much more authentic picture of who we are. So here's Archangel Michael offering Sagittarius strength and power as you have the courage to move to what's authentic to you. And this isn't just a physical move with your physical body. This is the conceptual moves, the beliefs. Jupiter is retrograde, and we haven't really talked about Jupiter today, but Jupiter will be retrograde until October 17th. And of course, that sticks in my mind because it's my birthday. So it will go direct, as will Pluto and Saturn, all in October. So we have these next few months to really look at what these planets, Pluto, transformation, Jupiter, my beliefs, my expansion, my wealth, Saturn, the structure of my life. Where do I want to go with all of this? And I say this, Sagittarius, because love is being offered to you. And I don't think this is just intimate love. I think this is loving your life more authentically, enjoying the ups, the downs, the dark, the light, all the hues that empower us. Because Crystal is saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. And that horizon is enjoying life more, feeling that zest for life, feeling that excitement for getting up. Because in the angel's advice is Archangel Raphael offering a healing, because you now understand that you have choices. And, this idea of karma it's not true that you were bad in a past life. So you're in this life getting beat up and tore up because you were some dark entity. No, how it works is we go through this series of choices. And every time we incarnate, our mission is to remember the truth of who we are and how powerful we are as creators. And I think when we get under the veil of this physical experience and then we start creating crap, that we go, I don't want to be a co-creator. I didn't do that to myself. But if we think about it, and here I'm going to go back to the idea that I forgot to take Lucky out on Sunday. Then he peed in the bed. I was the co-creator of that. But I was also extremely empowered by the idea of, okay, I know how to make this right again. I know that spirit is watching over me in some ways because I have this weird rubber thing on my mattress and it didn't pee through the mattress. So all is well. I know it sounds crazy to say that, but it's these little moments, these mundane tasks and weird things that start to reveal the bigger picture. So here, Sagittarius, Oceana is saying, Take action. You're in touch with your truth in this situation. Allow yourself to swim up to your destiny because there is a rebirth being offered to you. And I want to say it this way because this T-square between Saturn in retrograde, Uranus in Taurus, and Mars in Leo feels like, even though it's going to be, a period, a couple of weeks until Mars sort of moves off of it, it feels like it's part of this recipe that's going to reveal itself in October as we harvest all of this energy. And Sagittarius, I'm talking to you right now, and as you are willing to move into what makes you feel empowered, if you're courageous in making those changes, I feel like you really will start to see this get roots and start to live it. And as you start to live it more and more, you create this momentum that actually in some ways insulates you from some of these more lower vibrational challenges, because energetically you're aligned to a higher vibration, and the laws of attraction actually insulate you from those experiences. And if you do bring in something that's challenging, it is meant to empower you to another level of awareness. All right, let's go on to our Scorpios, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Anger can be very motivating. There's a difference between conscious anger and unconscious reactionary anger. And each one of the signs offers hues of light and dark within the house and the sign itself, and then within its opposition on the axis, because they all work together. For instance, as Juan writes down Scorpios, which is what we're on, I believe that represents the intuitiveness, the transformation, the being able to feel the underneath, which when I apply it, then becomes the ground I walk in my second house of Taurus. And women are intuitive. Venus should be an intuitive energy. Okay. Oops. Hold on. I'll be back. Okay. Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Yvonne. The second is Aurora. The third is Isabella. And the final is Krista. Welcome, Kimberly. I'm glad you made it. Yay! All right, Yvonne is being joined by the Earth Fairy. Aurora is being joined by the Goblin. Isabella is being joined by the Stag, and Crystal is being joined by the Queen. All right, so we have Yvonne, which for me represents vulnerability. It represents vulnerability to a bigger picture of what I want to experience, what I know. And then I have the Earth Fairy, which is about grounding. It's about the literally the steps I take on this earth. It also represents my physical being. But for now, what I want to say is I believe that this week will start a chapter, because I don't think it's a small period of time, where you actually, Scorpio, become much more vulnerable to what your intuitions are telling you, what Pluto is doing in the way of transforming you. I am fascinated by Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani. And when I look at their synastry chart, they have this great aspect between Rahu and the moon. But they have this T-square between, I believe it's their sun, their moon, and Pluto. And most of the time you'd look at that and it would be like, fire alarms going off, be afraid, be worried, control, power, kind of the darker things. But instead, what we saw, if anybody is familiar with their relationship, is the complete transformation of them in love. Gwen Stefani has literally glowed in every single picture she's ever taken with Blake Shelton. You don't see a dip in her vibration. She's always sitting way up here. And to me, that's Pluto transformed, Scorpio. So this is where I'm going with this, because we get to be vulnerable to the truth of what we are, Scorpio. Your ground is actually your intuition. Your ground is, kind of, you might want to take out an excavator, because in your truth is that your safest place is trusting your intuition, because the outside world will tell you, no, that's not true. That's not true. And then here's Aurora saying, no, you're flying high right now. Trust your intuition. Don't let that tank you, because Isabella's saying, yes, the timing is right for you to stand in leadership for yourself, allowing for your transformation, because there's so much more coming to you. And I say the queen represents not a female energy, but a receptive energy, a relaxed energy, as you begin to truly trust a deeper knowing, a knowing that is actually aligned to the co-creator within you. I believe, and I've been shown over and over again by spirit, that the reason the soul incarnates into this dense human experience is because it is through the challenging aspects that we feel our greatest exhilarations, our greatest self-expression, our greatest empowerment. So I want to offer that, Scorpio, right now, one of your challenges is to trust that inner knowing, trust that intuitive place, trust that transformational place that allows you to flourish. Geez, this lighting today is driving me crazy. Anyway, so when you do that, and when you're able to identify that part of yourself, then this becomes no longer a challenge. Your ego will not be something that you feel like you're fighting against, but rather something that you're working with. And that's where the real leadership comes in. Before I do a reading, I always thank Spirit for my ego, for making me brave enough, and my ego making me brave enough to do this work. And then I ask my ego to step aside so that Spirit may step through with clear, detailed, and accurate information. And that's what's offered here. And I want to even take it a step further, because Scorpio, your ancient ruler Mars is part of this T-square. And I want to offer you the opportunity, maybe this week specifically, you sit down with a pen and paper in hand and allow your intuition to come through the idea of automatic writing after meditation. Automatic writing being allowing a stream of consciousness to just come through, because I think there could be some really strong messages that will start to make you even more aware of your connection to Spirit. And in doing so, finding that to be a very solid place to start your actions from. Okay, going on to Libra. Sibanya, I hope I said that right. I start at Pisces and work my way towards Aries. So we are going on to Libra, and then we will do Virgo, and so on, and then Leo. Okay, here we go. On to our Libras, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Hi, Ritu. Okay, gonna take a sip of my tea. Bonita, welcome. Scorpio stellium. Oh, I love that. Oh, interesting. A past life regression. I got to tell you, I have this weird aspect going on with Neptune right now. And I watch this weird show called Skinwalker Ranch on the History Channel. It's all about this UFOs in Utah on this ranch. And they had a rabbi there the other day to do a ceremony at night. And it was really interesting, because when I meditate, I can't sit still. I rock. And when the rabbi was doing the song, he was rocking back and forth. And the minute he did this, I had this whole weird past life, like jettisoned to this life as a Hasidic Jew, and being part of the temple and the ceremony, and feeling so loving it. It was really weird. So I've had a lot of past life flashes lately. Okay, on to Libra. Just thought I'd say that. Here we go. Libra, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Rosetta. The second is Rochelle. Third is Caressa. And the final is Crystal. Oh, Stephen, if you're midheaven and Uranus are in Libra, this T-square could be, affect your career. There's possibilities there. I don't know. I don't remember your chart, but all right, here we go. Rosetta, Libra, is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Rochelle is being joined by the Stag. Caressa is being joined by the Love card. And Crystal's being joined by the Burden card. It's interesting because when I first looked at this spread, I got this feeling of cooperation from Libra. Libra is a sign of partnership. It's a sign of harmony. It's a sign of being a bit passive sometimes, And I feel a little bit like when I look at this, Libra may be having a little trouble connecting with the inner child. Maybe you're being a little bit too much of a grown-up lately. I say that because when I'm talking to such a large potential group of people, Rosetta doesn't really represent having a child. Sometimes they'll representing parenting, but for me, the Lady of the Lake is asking me to have the courage to go to a deeper truth. And if you look at how she's holding the sword, Excalibur, in the midst of this storm, it's lightly, because she knows how important it is to walk through the storm and allow her inner child to truly lead the way. The inner child hasn't been conditioned by the human experience to see limitations. And I think that's part of what's going on here. So Libra, this week, your true leadership comes in your willingness to follow your heart. And I think this is super important because as you follow your heart, you actually become a much more effective influencer. Because Caressa says that you're at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness awaits you. And there's the Love card. And I think that this isn't just about love of one person, but this love and this zest for life, this feeling of wanting to break free. This T-square is about liberation. It's about breaking free from old structures and sometimes they happen in explosive ways with Mars and Uranus involved. There's going to be some kind of fireworks. I'll say that because there's a wisdom to those fireworks. There's a wisdom to some sort of disruption, and it may be a little bit challenging in the beginning, but it will reveal itself because there's the Burden card and there's Crystal. I am a Libra sun, and I have felt, this Pluto is squaring me everywhere. My sun, my ascendant, my Mars. And for a year, 2 years, I was listening to all the darkness that Pluto brought until I started to realize that Pluto had been transiting my whole life. Somewhere my soul signed up for a master class in this lifetime. And as I surrender to the idea of that I'm here for great transformation, then I start to listen to my inner child and it makes me brave. And in doing so, while I still may feel slightly burdened because I can't see the path clearly, the reason I can't see the path clearly is because I'm not supposed to look with my eyes. I'm supposed to look with my heart. So my Libras, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, especially moons, not that the others aren't as important. Listening to your heart is important this week and moving forward, period. Because that is where the age of Aquarius is coming in. That's what all of this is about. As we follow the guidance of our heart, we thrive in so many ways that it sends a ripple effect. And if enough people are doing that, then the collective consciousness is kicking in the law of attraction at an ascended level that then helps balance the whole planet. That's where I'm going with that. All right, let's go on to our Virgos. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Transformation is not even an option. It's just like life. I mean, if you think about it, every day our bodies are changing. We may not see it in its actual. Oh, there's something changing. But look at the pictures. Look at the way the sun. In the morning it's over here. In the afternoon it's over there. If it shows up. It is mega exciting times, Jan, when we surrender to not trying to keep what isn't working in play. And that's what I think this T-square, and I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, also there's between Mars and Chiron in Aries, there's a trine. And I think that has an effect on that T-square as well, because there's something about Mars playing to, I want to play to me. And I don't think that's selfish anymore. I think that's an invitation to the rest of the world. Thank you, CJD. All right, here we go. Hi, VK. How are you? How's your little angel? Oh, my goodness. She's getting to be a big girl, I bet. All right, here we go, Virgo. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Rosetta. The second is Rochelle. Oh, my goodness. This is just like Libra. We have Archangel Michael, and then we have Archangel Raphael. I miss you guys too, sending lots of love to you and your family. Okay, here we go. Virgo. Rosetta is being joined by the history card, the Baird. Joining Rochelle is the Hawk. Joining Archangel Michael is the King, and joining Archangel Raphael is the Wealth card. Welcome, Penny. Welcome, Anne. All right, guys, here we go. Virgo. This is a beautiful opportunity for Virgo to step into a more joyous energy in life, in general. Virgo, on its most challenging dynamic represents enslavement, employment, bad health. And I think this is an opportunity to see the Baird as telling an enchanted story, coming from a much more childlike energy. I feel as if, Mercury, this last retrograde, really, oh my goodness, could I tell you stories about this last retrograde? But I want to offer it this way, because I think Virgo has been going through this transformation of realizing that the goal in life is not to be perfect, but to realize that we're fabulously flawed. Because it is through the flaws that our true empowerment, achievement, exhilaration, and excitement come through. Because I believe that in the opportunity, the obstacle, Rochelle is telling you, I kind of want to say it this way. I don't even want to really give Virgo too much, like, you got to do this, as much as I feel like you get to acknowledge you have been doing this. And now it's time to sit in the enjoyment of your creation, because you've been learning how to go from your heart. You've been practicing this, and you've been practicing rising above a situation and looking for the signs and the omens that your heart is telling you. Because in the angel's advice, the King is here representing karma, justice, and things pertaining to universal law. And they're congratulating you on having the courage to start to come from your heart versus coming from the place of other people, human beings' expectations. Because Virgo, you've had an epiphany. And in that epiphany, you have brought forth a healing. And when I say healing, I really think of it as balance. It's almost as if a challenging situation reveals the wisdom behind it. And the wisdom is bringing harmonious wealth. Because what you're starting to implement is, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. There's this kind of idea of, and I want to say this because I'm not actually talking about the female. I'm talking about Mama the Moon, and I'm talking about the moon representing our emotions, and that our emotions are what we really manifest on. It's what we really create and put out through our intentions. If we feel like crap, we can talk a story all day long. I am positive. I am positive. But if you don't feel positive, the universe hears the bigger picture. So, Virgo, I believe you're starting to write a new story from a more childlike, excited place, because you're starting to realize that the value of your heart is amazing. It's the most influential and powerful thing. And in doing so, you've truly become courageous. And you're starting to feel this. So let me offer this. As this T-square shows up in everybody's life, and we start to see unexpected things, because we're going to see it not just in our own personal lives, but on a world stage as well. I want you to start to think that the universe is actually working for you, conspiring to bring the greatest and most exciting things into your life. And your job in some respects is to sit in reception of it right now and start to think, I don't have to do the hard work. I get to do the easy work. And the easy work is to stay aligned to this joyous place. There was really, this last week, it was interesting because there were so many crazy disruptive things, like honestly, like dumb stuff, and dumb stuff that I even did to myself by moving too quickly, dropping things, etc. And each time something happened this week, I found the wherewithal to look for the silver lining. And it really did feel like it was shifting my vibration. And I think that is partially what's going on with Virgo here. All right, going on to Leo. Welcome, Martina. It's wonderful to see you. I've missed you. Sending lots of love to you on the other side of the world. Hello, Mr. Reborn. Here we go. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry it was so frightening. It's just opportunities to open up. Welcome, Brandon. It's good to see you. Thought I dropped something. Leo, here we go. Mars is transiting through your house. A small wallflower. That's funny, Martina. She is no wallflower. I'm going to say that. She's got some spice. She's a wildflower. All right, here we go. Leo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Woohoo! All right, Leo, our first angel is Fiona. The second is Serena. The third is Maya. And the final is Layla. Welcome, Sabrina, and your boy CJ. Welcome, Talcha. So nice to see new people in the room. And Sanitarium Radio, welcome. Oh, post it up. Wow. Prayers for your goddaughter. All right. Fiona is being joined by the Joy card, Leo. Serena is being joined by the Spider. Maya is being joined by the Fire Fairy. And Layla is being joined by the Stag. All right. Oh, it's Tilka. Sorry, I tried. All right, here we go. Fiona and the Joy card for my Leos. All righty. This is awesome. And I want to say it this way. We do have transiting. I believe transiting Venus is in Leo now, and Mars is as well. I think. Don't remember. I know Mars is. I'm pretty sure Leo Venus has moved into Leo. But I want to offer it this way, because this feels like Leo has been asking God and the angels to open the world up and to start to have more fun. What does Leo represent? It represents joy, fun, romance, our personal hobbies, what we like to do for entertainment and relaxation. And I feel like on some level, Leo, there's this feeling of, I don't know, I almost feel a feeling of restriction for you. And I don't really know exactly why, but I think it's because of the final position. And then I'll go back to the other two, because Layla's talking about spending time in nature, talking to God and the angels about your intentions. And here's the stag. And for some reason, the stag here today is feeling a little bit like the Leo pride. And it almost might be where I kind of feel like there's a weird feeling of Leo not feeling completely sure of being able to enjoy themselves, almost having like a trepidation about it. Maybe that's part of this T-square and Uranus making you feel a little bit nervous. I don't know what it is. There's an edginess about the way this feels to me, because when I go into the opportunity, the obstacle, there's Serena, and I feel like God and the angels are saying, oh no, relax, it's all good, we got you. We're going to get whatever you want into your web. It's coming. The spider, whatever gets in the spider's web doesn't come out. And we are all kind of been in this, lockdown idea for such a long time that even myself, I've gotten in such a big habit of putting a mask on before I leave the house that I almost feel like if I don't at least have one around my neck, I don't know, it's weird. So the reason I say that is because I feel like somehow Leo is unraveling this restriction, and that now it's time to start to buy into the idea that if there's still just a little bit more restriction, there's a wisdom behind it, because there may be, this is in the angel's advice. Here's Maya and the fire fairy. So you're learning something about Leo, waiting for inspired action, learning how to know that I'm going to just relax. Everything I want is in God's hands right now, what I want to create. And I want to offer this too, because if for some reason Leo is in some sort of transition of, let's say you're looking for a new job, or you're endeavoring a new creative something that puts you out into the world, because Uranus is going to represent the world stage, then trusting that this is all being lined up for you and not getting overstuck in the time element or it hasn't happened yet. There's something, the world, I feel very much this sort of ripple effect of I have an intention and I'm creating to a certain level, but I also have to give life to the idea of the cooperative components coming in, and that's up to spirit to take care of. And I, as a Leo, am learning the rhythm of this, the back and the forth of that. Okay, on we go to our Cancers, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. For those of you that are new to the show, I go backwards. I do it because everybody starts at Aries, and I don't know, my Libra sun just felt like I needed some balance here. Tipo, I think, is just needing to stretch his wings. He's got that Aquarius moon, so I don't think we can hold him down for too long in a routine. He'll be back. Oh, Brandon, that's interesting to coordinate or correlate that with the human design. Oh, Tipo is here. Hi, Tipo. You've been quiet. All right, here we go. Cancer, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, here we go. Cancer, our first angel is Archangel Uriel. The second is Athena. The third is Archangel Michael. And the final is Ray. I'm a firm believer for everybody watching that, allowing your intuition to integrate the various schools of thought that you explore. I never think there's really one form of thought. Like I'm for the most part a whole sign Western astrologer. I still play in Placidus. Everything I've ever learned, and maybe it's my Uranus and Leo, but it's always about taking the elements that most resonate with me and then braiding them in to allow my intuition to then parlay it. All right, Cancer. Joining Archangel Uriel is the birth and the rebirth card. Joining Athena is the fire fairy. Joining Archangel Michael is the love card. And joining Ray is the Lady of the Lake. Okay, so as I look at Cancer, I immediately feel the frustration of Archangel Uriel. And, I started off talking about, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy, but I'm not talking about motherhood in the traditional sense. I'm kind of parlaying that into the idea of the moon rules our emotional body. It rules our ability to self-nurture. And I feel as if on some level this week, this T-square and the cooperative trine between Mars and Chiron is going to illuminate for Cancer how you are self-nurturing. And I want to say it this way, because self-nurturing and self-care is not just about taking care of my body and eating right and showering. It's about my perception and my perspective. And Cancer is ruled by the crab. And the crab moves sideways versus moving upward and backward. So I want to offer this because now is an opportunity for you to start to see the rebirth of your frustration and any anger you may be feeling. Because now Spirit is offering you an opportunity to assert yourself, but in an inspired way, in a way that is not fearful of rejection, but rather faithful of acceptance, because you're having the opportunity to express what you need in love. And Archangel Michael is asking you to have the courage to truly stand in that vibration. We as humans, when we get invested into something or someone else, our perception gives our power away. It's almost as if there's this weird unconscious trigger in the human DNA that says, if you love something, you're going to lose it or it's going to go away. And I think that might be where part of this frustration lies. And the rebirth is knowing that that's not necessarily true. And so in the final position for Cancer is an opportunity to be courageous, the Lady of the Lake, to hold my truth, Excalibur, the sword here, during whatever emotional storm is brought up through this T-square, and then connecting with Spirit, knowing that there's a deeper truth here. So let's just use the example of I've met somebody and I want to move the story forward. And what I'm thinking about is marriage, children, cohabitating. And what I've forgotten is the journey to marriage, to cohabitation, and to children, to allow for the journey of alignment, allow for the journey of discovery, knowing that romance is a short chapter in life. And so I feel like Cancer, you can transform your frustration into something that actually works for you, that brings much more experiences that you want to have in your intimate body. But part of it is having courage to go through the process of discovery. Okay. On to our Geminis, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, and small wildflowers. Sabiana, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I want to offer this to you right now because I too have felt similar to that. And this Mercury retrograde brought a lot of people back into my life that, play I think games, but I don't know if they're actually games with me as much as they may be games with themselves. So what if in these people exiting is actually not something that's negative, but rather a opening space for new energies to come in? As the old relationships were revealing themselves, I kept asking myself, do I want to go back around? Because I know at 50, 60 years old, these people aren't really going to change much. They're pretty set in stone. So while I'm willing to shift, because rather than going back and hoping they will be different, I'm letting them sail off into the sunset and then saying to Spirit, thank you for bringing people that are now aligned to my evolution, to my spiritual growth. Because I don't want blind loyalty. I want authentic loyalty. There we go. Gemini, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. And I'm just going to say it. You bet. I'm going to say it. You know what I'm going to say? Go ahead and hit that like button. I don't know why I'm saying it. It's fun. Okay, here we go. Gemini. Our first angel is Grace and Antoinette. The second is Ariel. The third is is Isabella. And the final is Mystique. Gemini moon in Cancer. That's interesting. Are you telling me that your Gemini moon is in the 4th house of Cancer or in the house of Cancer? Here we go. Gemini. Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Disruption card. Ariel is being joined by Merlin. Isabella is being joined by the Letting Go card. And Mystique is being joined by the Raven. Okay, so Uranus is completely disruptive. We know that. Expect the unexpected. Lightning, nervous breakdowns, all are ruled by Uranus. So I tend to think that this week, this T-square and subsequent trine between Mars and Chiron, because Chiron's the wounded healer, is very much going to create a disruption. And that disruption does not necessarily mean something negative. And I say it because Grace and Antoinette is asking Gemini to have compassion for the disruption. And disruption has been sort of a buzzword Spirit's been using with me this year. Disruption is the doorway to your dreams. So as you say, okay, what does this disruption have to offer me? Because maybe what it's doing is illuminating an imbalance that I can let sit on the side of the road so that I can then invite in a more aligned energy. And I say that because Merlin is about alchemy, balance, things pertaining to the law, karmic law. And there's Ariel telling you new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view yourself in the world. And I feel like this is truly your opportunity, Gemini. And I really kind of do want to focus in on the Gemini moons because your emotional body is what you're going to manifest on. So now is a time for Gemini to say, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. And the new venture is not letting go of something, but the song Let It Go from the movie Frozen. It's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. That's the disruption. The disruption could very well be that you're put in a place where your fears are initially maybe stoked or highlighted, but then once you get a little bit of perspective on it, you start to say, oh, no, this is actually what I've been calling forth. My higher self has been offering me opportunities to change what I have not found favorable in my life. And part of that feels I feel a little insecure. Uranus is making me feel insecure because it's breaking the Saturnian structure, but it's going to rebuild. Because yes, the timing is right, Gemini, for this. Expect miraculous solutions. And here's the magic. in the form of the raven. And the raven in the Native American culture goes into the underworld, Plutonian. And we see this skull because there's the transformation, there's the rebirth. And your job is to continue to charge towards the light and to allow the disruption to be what it is. And I want to say it this way, because let's say it's something silly, or I don't want to say silly, but let's say it's something like a fender bender, okay? Maybe you're going too quickly. Maybe you're on a hamster wheel of some kind, and it's time for you to allow yourself to be more thoughtful as you actually traverse your everyday life in your car. Whatever disruption there is, I really think this is a time to look beyond it. This week was extremely powerful for me because there's been so much disruption, and my Aries is so used to going to anger and frustration and then blasting. And what I did was I allowed my double Venus to take over, and all I did was foster peace, created a little more beauty on my patio, fixing things around my house, and giving me an opportunity to settle and set an intention. That's what I think is going on for Gemini. So welcome the disruption and look deeper into it and have compassion for yourself as your mercurial mind goes back and forth before it settles into the magic that's being offered. Okay. When I think about some of the most pivotal things that happened in my life, they were on the heels of something very disruptive. And when I started my own business, it was never anything I planned or strategized. Thank God I have 2 grand trines and earth signs. But it was all through a disruption. And my job in some respects was to be like Mystique and sort of keep my eyes like this. I'm not calling you out, Smalley. I'm just loving on you, baby. All right, here we go. Taurus, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Whoop. You're part of the equation this week. Taurus, as Uranus is traversing you, offering you complete renovation of your life and your structure. All right. For those of you that are just tuning in, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm here on Lotta's channel every Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, and I go backwards. I start at Pisces and work my way towards Aries. All righty. First angel is Chantal. The second is Serafina. The third is Sonia. And the final is Akasha. Love is in the air. A lot of signs getting things about love. Right on, Tebow. All right. Whoop. Chantal is being joined by Merlin. Serafina is being joined by the deer. Sonia is being joined by the wind fairy. And Akasha is being joined by the protection card. It's interesting to me because when I look at Chantal, Chantal represents romance, and there's Merlin. And I want to offer this because, you know, being a Taurus moon myself, I have a very kind of specific way of feeling loved. I don't know that everybody and every Taurus is going to feel the same way I am, but I'm fixed in it. And I feel as if on some level, my job is not to acquiesce what it is that I want in the way of feeling love, but to open up to the idea that there is magic in love, in the respect that Merlin is representing my oversoul. It's representing the bigger part of me that knows that I came pre-wired this way because there is somebody aligned to that pre-wiring. There is someone out there that actually loves very similar to how I love and how I want to be loved. And that's what I think is here for Taurus. I think that maybe the road has been a little rough. Some of you may have experienced divorces. Some of you may have not found love yet. Some of you may have, there's so many stories, but I think for Taurus, this is an opportunity to really be gentle and diplomatic with yourself as you realize you've called forth a bigger story for yourself. You're Venus ruled. Taurus rules my legacy, my family history. And so to me, this is a bigger picture of things. This is where the Taurus is watching this right now have called forth maybe the breaking of a spiritual legacy of discontent or of not feeling loved authentically or staying in situations that didn't really serve you. Because now I think there's an opportunity for a shift. And that shift starts first with your connection to spirit and realizing what your mind focuses in on and allowing spirit to give you an experience, Sonia, that allows your mind to just start to connect to a higher vibration of what it is that you want. As I've gotten older and the more that I've been able to do this work, the more I see the layers of my thought process. And I have been oftentimes think I'm manifesting on one thing and I'm really manifesting on a deeper story. And so what I want to say for my Taurus is that even though there is a deeper story of the experiences that I've had in this lifetime, there's still my oversoul holding space for a deeper knowing. And that deeper knowing is, yes, that I am lovable. Yes, that there is love there for me. Yes, that love does not know an age, a time, a bra size, or anything else like that. So Akasha is the spiritual teacher, and there's the protection card. So for my Tauruses, I want to offer this. I believe that love may come to you in unexpected ways, either the resurgence of an existing relationship or through love being presented to you. And I want to offer it this way, because if you've not been in love for a while, then the first offering may be just an awakening that that's something you want and not the person or the scenario. And your job is to stay in observation as you assess if this is what is really what you want and what you've been calling forth. I think love may be offered in ways that seem very unexpected lately. I feel like COVID and the year of isolation, or however long, sometimes some of us have experienced it longer, some shorter, but it has illuminated a wanting to connect on a more authentic level with other human beings. And I think now is the time for that manifestation to happen. And as we head into the year 2022, I think that's very significant, all those twos bringing in more partnership and cooperation and compassion. All right, let's go on to our final sign, Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. All right. Give it a good shuffle. All right, Aries. Our first angel is Archangel Gabriel. The second is Indriel. The third is Xana. And the final is Maya. Oh, Brandon, love could be in the air for you. All right, here we go. Archangel Gabriel's being joined by the goblin. Indriel's being joined by the fire fairy. Xana's being joined by the water fairy. And Maya's being joined by the king. Okay, as an Aries rising myself, I will tell you that one of the things I have learned, because Pluto has been really, if you're an Aries, Pluto's squaring you and has been squaring, obviously Capricorn and Aries square each other. Capricorn and Libra square each other, and Capricorn and Cancer oppose each other. All of these cardinal signs have had their influence on Pluto. And I bring that up now because I think that what's going to take place in this week of this T-square between Uranus, Saturn, and Mars, and then Mars making a trine to Chiron in Aries. I think this is about Aries, the way you communicate. And I think that in many ways, Archangel Gabriel is saying that you have an important life's purpose in communications and not to let your ego get in the way. And I want to say it this way because, Aries moves fast, Aries moves independently, Aries moves courageously, and sometimes thoughtlessly. Just saying whatever comes out of your mouth. And now I think in some respects, this is an opportunity to decide if you just want to speak or if you actually want people to hear what you have to say. I'm not trying to get up your grill, Aries. I'm an Aries rising. I'm very blunt. I'm very assertive. I wish I could keep my mouth shut sometimes. I can't. But what I have learned is that Aries is very much the light worker and very much the knight, very much the truth seeker, the spiritual warrior. And now is time to take creative action in how you support that within your daily life. How do you support the warrior and the truth of the warrior, but in a way that can be heard by others? Because I think now is a time for you to start to realize that your feelings are a lot more sensitive than other people might think. Because when you communicate bluntly, people tend to think you don't have feelings, and you do have feelings. And now, as you're more aware of how you communicate, you'll see others being more aware of how they communicate with you. Because this is really a time of learning how influential you are. And what you say has weight. It has meaning. Maya is the angel of education, and the king here is representing justice and karma. And I think karma is not, again, I really want to be very clear. It's not you did something bad in a past life and now you have to pay the price in an unknown way. No, I think that karma is a series of choices. And if we're aware of our choices, if we're aware of how we choose to show up, because there are times I choose to be blunt. There are times I just really just choose to be blunt. And then there's times when I'm like, do I want to be blunt or do I want to be heard? And that's what your ego is asking you. Because if you want to be heard, you're going to think about who you're talking to and how you say things. And I think this could be very well illuminated this week with this T-square. Because I think that the truth is that you no longer want to be looked at as the lone wolf. You want to be seen as the knight at the round table. Lancelot, one of the three musketeers, fighting for justice, for truth, and for what is fair. So I want to offer this. For my Aries this week, be mindful of how you can be inspiring. Be mindful of how you can be heard because you're actually coming from your higher vibration. And that's where your feelings will actually be, in many ways, not just protected from how others, humans, will respond to you, but you will feel a certain sense of satisfaction, aka protection, because you've been able to say what it is you want to say in all its authenticity, but without the sting and the bite attached to it. And that really starts to make you feel like you're standing in leadership. So it's a big time in history, honestly. I think, when we look back at the history books, when they talk about this time, they'll be talking about transformations that were beyond anything we've seen. Before, we've seen it in physical war, and now I think we're going to see it in character, in how we want to show up. And I don't want to call it war, but rather transformation. And as each one of us decides how we want to show up and how we want to communicate, we become powerful leaders, and we help to teach and to balance this planet. So that's it for me this week. I want to thank you all so much for showing up again. I just feel so blessed when y'all come back week after week. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner. I think of myself as an intuitive astrologer these days. So if you'd like to get a reading with me, you can go to Lotta's channel. There's options there. And I'll be back next Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time with more messages from your angels for traversing the transits. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. I love each and every one of you. Peace.